One Love family, what's up? Jesse Tree here with another plant profile, another wild plant profile I keep in my garden. You can see we got all this uh, polyculture going here. Got borage feeding our apple. We got plants for the pollinators. We got currant, and we allow this nice uh, wild buckwheat to come. This is yellow dock. So yellow dock is a wonderful herb. The buckwheat family is a wonderful family. You can eat all of the buckwheats. They're either food or medicine. Um, so you can use this in a variety of ways. You can use these leaves like wild spinach, very supple and kind of tart like spinach. It's in the rhubarb is also in the buckwheat family. So kind of got a reminiscent flavor of that. Um, so we harvest these and cook them up and put them in the kids' eggs and with their lasagna and what have you. Um, but then I also harvest the seeds and come see what we're going to do with that. So I neglected, before we move on to what we're going to do with the seeds, I wanted to further mention about uh, other uses of yellow dock. You can dig up the root, and the root is very yellow. That's why it's called yellow dock. And both the leaf and the root is really good in helping the body absorb iron, making iron more available to the body. And it's also high in iron. So if you're dealing with anemia or something like that, yellow dock can be super helpful. So what we're going to do now, these are what the seed heads look like that I harvested the other day. And I'm just going to start harvesting the seed. And what we do is we gather this and sometimes, Indian rice grass and blazing star seed, and we'll mix it with things like oat groats or rye groats and make wild sun-baked breads. So we'll gather this stuff up. And if you want to come take a little look here, um, you can see it's a tiny little seed in there. So we'll do the whole process of like shaking and winnowing. I'm just going to demonstrate roughly right now how you kind of rough it up like that, and then we'll winnow it. And we just add that seed in. You can also eat it with this, and it's basically a lot of just fiber, and we'll soak and sprout it. That makes it more bioavailable. And you can just, we like to use something like oats or rye because it'll be glutinous and hold it together. You could also use things like chia. And you can do them savory or sweet. We make our wild pizza crust this way with basil and oregano and garlic and olive oil and salt and pepper in the crust. Or you could do things like Kalamata olives in there, um, uh, sage, what have you, rosemary. You could also do them sweet and add nuts and fruit, things like pumpkin seeds or you know dates, raisins, cranberries, and just make yourself a nice little loaf. And then you put them out in the sun, hopefully on some maybe a baking sheet, or not sheet, but a baking sheet would work with parchment paper, but you'll want to flip it, and you just leave it out in the sun for a day or two. We'll often add whey to that, so it lacto ferments and potentizes the breads, but you don't need to do that. And then it will just sort of ferment and sun bake, and that makes the seeds more nutrient rich and more bioavailable. And so that's a great way to make wild breads, and that's kind of the fun I wanted to share with you today. Hope you got something from this. Much love. Get out there in the garden and play with the plants.